Good evening, everyone. I'm going to call to order the Plan Commission for January 4th. If we could stand for the pledge, please. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Sergio, roll call, please.
Bob Brolson,
Here.
Yolanda Cardona,
Here.
John Gill,
Here.
Joe Gomestego,
Here.
Bob Valois,
Here.
Jenna Lordson,
Here.
John Kennedy,
Here.
Attorney Adam Decker is not in, Engineer John Dykstra,
Here.
Councilman Liaison Brian Blazak,
Present.
and Town Manager Joe Wizawati is not here today.
All right, before we go on to the next item, first I want to put on record, I want to thank Jason Vlasic for his time. As you know, he did not renew his term here on the board, but he did serve it well, and I want to thank him for his time and effort on this Plan Commission. And at the same time, want to welcome and introduce Jenna. She is with the Planning Department here at the Town of St. John, and she will be a very valuable asset to this board, so welcome aboard. All right, next on the agenda, we have election of officers. With that, I will entertain a motion for president.
I'll make a motion to nominate John Kennedy for president.
Second.
I will not.
I saw this on TV
Wow, that was
That was quick. I like that.
that was a setup, not love. All right, I have a motion, discussion. Hearing none. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? I bet I should. All right, next on the agenda, so motion carries 7-0. Next on is motion, I'll entertain a motion for vice president.
I'll make a motion to nominate Bob Burleson for vice president.
I have a motion for Bob. Is there a second?
I'll second.
I got a second by, I'll do Yolanda. I think I heard her first, second by Yolanda.
Mine wasn't that fast.
Yes, it was.
I was going to, Bob.
I allowed him to finish, Bob. That's what-
Yeah. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Oppose? No oppose. Motion carries 7-0. Executive secretary, do we have a motion for executive secretary? I think there was discussion that since Jenna is a employee here, that we might have her as executive secretary. Are you okay with that? or
Oh,
would
yeah,
you-
that makes perfect sense, yeah.
Okay. Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion to nominate Jenna as executive secretary.
I have a motion. Is there a second?
I second it.
Second by Joe. All in favor, say aye. I'm opposed. Motion carries 7-0. Next on the agenda is the Plan Commission has to appoint a member for the BZA. Is there a motion to appoint someone to the BZA?
I'll make a motion to appoint Yolanda Cardona to the BZA.
We got a motion to, and that's a great motion. by the
Second.
way. Second, there it is, there it is. We got a motion, and that's good. With her legal background, the BZA is a judicial body, so it's a great selection for this Plan Commission. That's my discussion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? No, you don't even get that. All right, election of boards are done. Next on the agenda, we have the minutes. We have the December 7th, 2022 Plan Commission regular meeting minutes. If everyone has reviewed, have any questions, if hearing none, I'll entertain a motion.
Motion to approve December 7th, 2022 regular meeting minutes.
I have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion for minutes, carry 7-0. There are no public hearings tonight. Next on the agenda, we have, this is some house cleaning for the Gates of St. John Unit 12B. We're seeking, just to clean up some of the extensions on where they are, a motion to approve an extension to July 2nd, 2023, based on where they were with their contingencies and things like that. It's a good order that we can keep track of in-house. So if I can get a motion to entertain a extension for the Gates of St. John Unit 21B to July 2nd. Primary plat approval, I'm sorry, to July 2nd, 2023.
I'll make a motion to extend primary plat approval to July 2nd of 2023 for the Gates Unit 21B.
I have a motion to extend primary plat to July 2nd, 2023. Is there a second?
Second.
Discussion. Hearing no discussion, all in favor say aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Next on the agenda, we have Parish Woods. How are you, sir?
Well, yourself?
Good. This is a request for extension of primary plat. So again, this is very similar to what we just did. They're requesting, this was the one where contingencies were done in August, September, and so we just need to do an extension and then propose final plat of Parish Woods. So the petitioner want to introduce himself to the board?
Yes. Excuse me. My name is Ryan Fleming. I represent 1110 LLC. Do you need my address for the record?
No, that's good. Just name an organization would be good.
Fair enough. Well, as you alluded to, the housekeeping issue of the previous item and this item with regards to extension of the primary plat. Obviously, we are where we are with the project, very much installed, except for about $85,000 worth of work on the lift station, which is ongoing. And then we're here for the purposes tonight, as well as a second item for the approval of the secondary plat as well. As I understand it, I apologize my absence to the last meeting, but as I understand, the concern came up that we would need to conduct the business of the primary plat extension before the secondary plat, so as to clean that up to be able to move on to the next order of business, which would be the secondary plat. So unless there's questions about the primary plat, I think it is somewhat self-explanatory.
Is there any questions for Mr. Fleming? So before we address the extension, Mr. Fleming, $85,000 still for the lift station? So where is the status on that lift station?
Correct.
And if you could, I didn't mean to interrupt you, and also give a timeline on when do you expect it to be completed, I guess would be another good question.
I anticipate in the next 30 days it'll be completed. We went from about $265,000 worth of work from the beginning of December to now to about, well, as of last week, about $80-some thousand worth of work. They're out there working diligently. The structure's there. They're looking to get testing done. I think that was discussed at our meeting yesterday on site. So everything is on its way, and I would expect in the next 30 days we'll have that complete. But in the meantime, of course, related to the next matter of the secondary plat, it is that dollar amount is a portion with the 10% contingency of surety that would be posted with a letter of credit, which is ready to go. I just need a confirmation of the numbers and to put ink to paper with my signature with American Community Bank. So all of our ducks in a row, it just need to get it finalized. We're waiting for confirmation of the number from the update from the beginning of the month of December to now, of last week when I sent that off to Ken, who had been the reviewing engineer for this project.
Okay.
Question for you. All the materials for the lift station are on site or on hand to,
I understand
Assemble.
everything except for the backup generator, which we are expecting in the next 30 days, is what I was told today by Austrian Equipment, who did the ordering. That was, no matter what, was always going to be something that was going to be a later thing, and we had contingency plans if we had been able to get our work done sooner of how to handle that. But as the stars align, it turns out it's going to get there about the time we get done anyway.
So currently, the lift station's not complete. Your development fee, I saw, has been paid.
Correct.
But a letter of credit has not been submitted for the work.
And the only reason for that is I don't have a confirmation of the number for which I saw it last week, the confirmation, but it's ready to go. As soon as I have that confirmed, we just have to put ink to the bank documents to be able to submit that to the town.
Okay. All right. So there's several items that we have to address. First, as we've mentioned, there's the extension, which currently a 6-month, which we're allowed to do well, we could do multiple 6-month. But the first one would be up till February 26, 2023, which you would think you would be done with the lift station and those type of materials within the next 30 days. That's February
Yes.
26th is like 45 days. There are some other discussions of waivers. There are 2 items that are outside our subdivision control ordinance, and Bob, and I'm saying Bob Valoyd, if I go off kilter, please put me on the rails again. One is the storm inlets are rectangular, they're not circular. And so there has been discussions of a waiver for the square stormwater inlets, which based on discussions, might be just appropriate to keep them in place, then rip them out, putting in a new structure. And there's been discussion that the actual square inlets probably drain a little bit better than circular ones. The other issue, and Bob, I'll probably I'll turn over to you a little bit, is the B boxes. They weren't placed accurately. I know the petitioner, Mr. Fleming, and the Public Works Department has been working to try to come up with a solution that works best. And so, Bob, can I turn it over to you a little
Sure,
bit?
yeah, we met, what was it, yesterday, wasn't it, Ron? We met yesterday, and the B-boxes that we were having issues with was mostly the inner portion of the development, lots 28, 27, 26, and then that intersection. So we discussed moving those back to 16 feet from the curb line back behind the sidewalk on each property. Also, the ones that are on the outer lots are approximately 18 feet back right now as they installed them. And I am actually okay with that, being at that depth into the lot, because the water main is actually further back, so therefore there's a little short piece of copper that's connecting to that B box, and the shorter you make it, the more problems you have. So I'm okay with it being at the 18 feet depth on the lots, on the outer lots. But the inner lots, he agreed to actually move them back when builders come in, correct? And
Yeah.
you're gonna have them move them back, and you also stated you would put that in writing.
Correct, yeah. So if I
Yes.
can reaffirm that, what I proposed is on an individual basis, as we have the builders start to build on their lots, that when their service comes out to extend to the B box, at that point in time, we find the marriage in the middle of where we want it to be, so that we avoid any problems that might have been caused by us moving them. Doing it all at once, it helps avoid some of that concern that we might just be coming back to fix something else in the future. And that was what I discussed with Mr. Valois yesterday, in fact, and hopefully that's an amicable solution associated with a waiver tied to that. And I apologize, Mr. Kennedy, I was going to dive into that when we started talking about the secondary plat, but yes, there are 2 waivers we are seeking, so.
Okay. Any questions, comments?
If I might,
Oh, absolutely.
so to the point of the agreement, absolutely, we can put something together, whatever needs to be put on a paper to make sure everybody's comfortable. But the auxiliary point of there is approximately $20,000 in surety put up for water as well. And when I consulted with Ken on that, it was for this issue. So aside from creating a backup document that says what we're going to do, there's money that's also on the sideline parked there for the ability to draw if we were, for whatever reason, to break our word, which I don't see us doing.
It's good, Mr. President, if you don't mind me saying. I'm
absolutely.
glad that Mr. Fleming disclosed that information, because aside from just a promissory or an agreement, we would want some type of surety to back that up in case they did not perform in moving those B boxes back. But Mr. Fleming indicated that they would be included as part of the letter of credit, so.
So a couple questions. I'm getting outside of my expertise. How does this handle on a building department when you guys?
So when we,
Because now you do have to go out there every time a new house
Yeah.
comes out there, and you'll have to verify
yeah,
the
that's
location.
standard procedure. When, after the foundation's poured, the builder will typically hook up the water, sewer, and storm utilities. And that's when they actually bring the water line in through the wall, which eventually gets the meter on the end of it in the basement. And we can verify the location of the B box is greater than 15 feet from the back of curb at that time.
So you're comfortable, the building department's also comfortable with
Yep.
this?
I think that's probably a best case scenario actually for the fix.
Okay. With this waiver, there's a letter of guarantee of these fixes, or let's say, these
Corrections.
corrections. Do we wait to get that letter for the waiver?
I would ask if we could have action tonight for the purposes of conducting the business conditioned on these items. And it was just yesterday that we spoke about this, and with the holiday and everything, it was difficult. And honestly, I was set to be here, was it the 22nd? That with the study session meeting was, so I would have had the ability to address it at that point in time. So I'd really like to keep this going, because with making sure we get this business done, I can get the ins and the outs completed with staff to get that satisfied on those conditions, to be able to avoid having to wait another month for a formal vote on the secondary plat. I have 18 of the 28 lots sold. So it's,
And Mr. Fleming, I'm only one person. I know there's been concerns from this board outside of me that have some hesitancy on giving secondary plat without a functioning lift station. And so I don't know how, I'll entertain it, see how this board feels. And we don't have that letter of credit or bond submitted yet. These are things that should be in hand before this board makes a vote. In the past, we're just trying to dot our i's and cross our t's. So I'll go through the process. I facilitate the meeting. I will see how the board wants to proceed with this. And if the lift station's not going to be done in 30 days, you can't sell a lot, right? Or you can't occupancy a lot. So I will take it to consideration for the board.
understood the time for which a builder would have to start their, it's going to take me 30 days to get the plat recorded, to get the title work, to get to a closing table, to sell the lots anyway. And if they pull a permit in 30 days, they're not going to be needing sanitary service, but for 90 days after that. So, and that's the purpose of having the surety in place as well, to be able to provide the performance of that regarding this, so.
I will entertain what the board wants to do. So, all right, so we have several items to discuss. Mr. Fleming, anything else before it's not a public hearing, so we could have back and forth, so,
No.
next, go ahead.
I'm just looking at my notes. I think we've knocked all the points that I had on my notes to address, and whatever questions I might be able to answer, or confidence I can give to you about the project, please do not hesitate to ask, because
I have one question. When did construction start on this?
we started late. I would say it was April when we started in earnest. We pumped the brake.
April of 2022?
Correct. We pumped the brakes for a period of time, largely because the lift station was ordered, and we were told that it was going to be, at that point in time, it was going to be a 7 to 8 month lead time. Well, it ended up being closer to a 9 to 10 month lead time. So there was no reason to go full steam when we weren't going to be able to have the lift station in any state of completion, for that matter, until what we anticipated, which was August, September, October. And that's just what happened. And then, of course, concrete shortage hit us, and that slowed us down in the
Yeah.
fall considerably as well.
I guess then my second question would be, when did this board approve primary plat? Construction started in April. When did,
Believe, from correspondence, I believe it was confirmed to be August of 2021.
August 26th was when all the contingencies were lifted from the primary plat approval
August of what year?
of last year.
Last
I'm sorry,
year.
of 2021.
2021.
Yeah.
2021, August.
And we didn't want to take construction into the winter, because we would never have gotten to asphalt, which means we would have been sitting on infrastructure in the ground, not being able to do anything with it. So that's why I waited until the spring, and then when we found out the delay on the lift station, that's why we got into that situation.
Question for Sergio or Jenna. These letter of credits I received from Haas and Associate in our packet, or the dated October 31st, 2022 secondary plat letter, are those up to date?
My conversation with Haas, with Ken over at Haas, Tuesday morning was that he was still waiting on a report back from the inspections that were performed that Tuesday morning, so he can adjust his letter of credit. I'm not sure if it included, his review included the relocation of some of those bead boxes. So I can reach out to him and confirm that should be identified as part of the letter of credit.
Okay. All right, well, let's go through the list of items, and then we'll get to the secondary. First thing on the item for housekeeping is to make a motion to allow a 6-month extension, which would take it to February 26, 2023 for primary plat. I will entertain a motion for that 6-month extension.
Did you say 6 months or 6 weeks?
6 months. 6 months.
6 months?
Yeah, we'll take it to February 26, 2023.
You're counting retroactively?
We're counting retroactively, yeah, because because the contingencies came off sometime last August, and then there was no official request, so they came and did official requests, so we are retroactively active, cleaning it up from when the initial primary plat expired.
I'll make a motion for primary plat extension.
To February 26, 2023, I have a motion to approve the 6-month extension. Is there a second?
Second.
I got a second by John Gill. Discussion. What will happen if, appreciate that. First, we'll do the waiver for the inlet covers. Again, these are rectangular versus the circular inlet covers for the storm. Is there discussion? And if there's any, or Bob, you want to add anything? Because I know you were out there. I mean, your email sort of said you see it as
I see it, I don't see it,
benefit
yeah.
to keep it as
Just
is.
leave it as it is, and you're not
Okay.
ripping out any curb, no concrete, no asphalt.
All right, so I will entertain a motion to waiver for the inlet covers.
Motion to approve waiver of inlet covers, inlet frames for Parish Woods.
All right, I have a motion motion for waiver for the inlet covers from Bob. Is there a second?
I'll second.
I got a second from Bob. Discussion? Hearing no discussion, sorry. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion for the inlet covers passes 7-0. B boxes. Again, working with the Public Works Department, it seems like a suitable fix has been determined. If there is a motion, can we put the motion contingent on receiving a letter, what would you call it?
Letter of intent.
Letter of intent. What would you want that, Sergio?
I thought
A
he
commitment
mentioned-
letter?
I thought he mentioned Sierra.
It's a agreement that he has with the home builders or the contractors to relocate that, and then it's identified in a performance surety.
Okay.
If I might,
Yeah,
I'm sorry, I want to clarify too. Though we're doing it at a time of the builder conducting his work, it's at our cost. So we're not passing the buck, it's just have your guy go do the services, tell us the differential in the bill from what it would have been to connect at the 16 feet to the house versus what we had to go from the 16 feet back to get that corrected. And we're picking up the difference on that. So I wanted to make that clear too.
okay.
I don't want you to think we're passing the.
I just want to make sure we have something written.
Yeah,
And
that's,
to that point, I've already contacted our attorney after speaking with Mr. Velez yesterday, that he is drafting something. What we title it, I'm indifferent to, other than to say it's maybe a performance guarantee, or as long as the nuts and the bolts inside of the agreement say what you all want it to say, that's all I care.
All right. So I'll bring this to the board for consideration, how you want to handle it.
All right. Would it be a waiver still, or?
It would be a waiver for the locations of the B boxes
Okay.
pursuant to discussions with Public Works at their
There's-
location.
13 that are short. I believe it's 4, 5, and 6, and then 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, and 28. So if you wanted to include that in your motion to be part of that agreement, I think it really isolates what the waiver is. The waiver is a waiver with the correction of those specific lots being taken care of.
Mr. Fleming, do me the favor, the courtesy again,
Certainly.
repeat those lot numbers for the record.
Sure. 4, 5, 6, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, and 28.
So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, it's 13. All right, so the waiver would be for those,
I'll make a motion to grant a waiver for the B-Box location on lots 4, 5, 6, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, and 28, provided we get documentation from the developer that the B-Boxes will be located at the proper area on the lot as each home is built.
May I make a recommend, just.
let me
Go
get
ahead,
through a
sir.
second, and then we'll get a discussion. Is there, so the motion is to approve a waiver for location of B boxes on lots 4, 5, 6, 19, 20, and then 21 through 28, with the contingency that a commitment letter will be received regarding the locations once each structure is put in.
Yep.
All right. Is there a second to that motion?
Second.
Got a second from Bob. Discussion, Joe?
Yes, I'm in favor of the waiver, but I'd like to see that letter, and if, once it passes through his attorney that he's gonna have to write, perhaps it makes it a little bit more concrete, and we could show it to our attorney, and then they could make heads or tails out of it, then we could actually approve that waiver. I'm more strongly in supportive of what they're saying, that's all.
Okay. No, I would imagine the contingency, well, then let's do this. John, why don't you maybe redo your motion saying approval?
With all those numbers again?
No. Just saying with the approval of our legal counsel for the
I'll
commitment
amend
letter.
my motion to include our legal counsel reviewing the commitment letter between the developer and the home builders that will be relocating the B-Boxes.
Perfect. All right, Joe, good?
Bingo.
All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? I hope you got that, so.
You know, I didn't want to be more difficult than, you know,
No,
electing
we're-
a House Speaker.
Hey, we got our president done in one vote.
I
so
saw that.
That's all I gotta say. All right, so now we have the secondary. So just a couple, I have two letters here, both one dated November for a letter of credit. The other one dated October 31st, and it seems like they are outdated and not up to date. However, since, again, I'm moderating the meeting. How do we want to consider it a secondary? I mean, because I'll read these, but again, they're outdated. They're not going to be accurate, I don't believe. Am I saying that accurately, Sergio?
Yes.
All right.
And based on the recent conversation I had with Ken over at Haas on Tuesday morning.
But I want to give you, if we are considering any type of action, I would like to read these into the record, so determining, however, I will gauge the interests or litmus of the board before I go into a couple pages of reading. So any open discussion before I read this, or do you want me to read these, knowing that they probably are not accurate? All right.
Mr. Kenny, if I might, the November
30th letter?
Yes, the November 30th is the most accurate. The two line items on it that we have asked be adjusted is that associated with the sanitary lift station, which will come down precipitously to, like, I think it's 86,000 if memory serves correctly. But and the street signs, which we actually paid for. yesterday, so as to remove those. And those would be the only line items that have changed or would change because nothing else has been conducted or would be conducted, as most, the paving would come in the spring because we were waiting for the surface coat for the spring, and then the water, as we discussed, is relative to the services. There's some storm water on there as well. So most of that's generalized housekeeping surety for the future of the secondary plat, not so much about the performance of the primary plat to get to the secondary plat. The lift station is the substantial item there. If I might make a suggestion, is that the November numbers, if it is in the desire of this board to move forward, that the surety be no greater than the number from November, with an understanding that with Ken's confirmation, it will likely come down at November 30th, the structure of the lift station literally was not sitting there. Now it is, and they're working inside it, and that's why the cost has come down so precipitously in that regard. And unfortunately, because of timing and holidays and the missing of the last meeting, that is the reason I'm not more prepared to say, here's my letter of credit, other than to say that we've had a draft prepared that we sent to staff for review that's associated, I believe, with the November numbers. We would just refine those to make sure that we're doing the right numbers opposed to an additional, $150,000 of surety that otherwise we would wipe out in the span of a couple of days here by me finding the letter of credit and then saying to Public Works, can you please inspect this so that we can get this lowered down, and then going to the bank and saying, please lower down this letter of credit.
And I appreciate all that. My concern is sometimes we get ahead of ourselves. I think some of the issues in this project is because we got ahead of ourselves by allowing contingencies instead of making sure everything was reviewed. I'm not saying it wasn't reviewed, but sometimes we make motions based on contingency, and then it's up to our planning department to follow and make sure those contingencies are met, versus us waiting till everything's in order for the secondary plat and everything's in line, and then, well, I understand you want to sell your lots, we just want to make sure we're not missing things because we're allowing contingencies on motion, so.
And I appreciate that.
Okay. So, again, I'll take a litmus test of the board, how they want to handle it. There's three. If there's considerations to approve, I will read the letters. If there's no consideration to approve or defer at this time, then, we could probably get updated letters from Mr. Haas, but I will.
Yeah, I think with all the contingency that we gave tonight, the letter that he needs, and the 30-day timeline on getting the lift station working, I think it'd probably be prudent for us to just defer, and then the first Wednesday in February, when he comes back, he should almost have hopefully everything buttoned up to make it a turnkey development.
I would agree with you, John.
All right. I will entertain a motion.
Make a motion to defer the secondary plat of Parish Woods.
I have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
You got a second? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion to defer is till February. Next on the agenda.
If I can just confirm, so that I make sure that I have all my ducks in a row. If we get the confirmation from Ken, we'll have that. I'll be able to provide in hand a letter of credit, and we will be able to proceed in February for the recording of the plat.
I think the only last issue I think I've heard from this board is the lift station. Hopefully you have that operational.
Understood.
Or
Your
Darn close.
ordinance provides so for providing performance assurity for the gaining of a secondary plat. I'm not asking it for $2 million of infrastructure. We're talking a very minor amount here. So I would please ask the board to take that into consideration when I see you in February. I'm just trying to get this project going and get builders building, especially in this economy.
Awesome. We do appreciate it, sir.
Thank you.
And wait, do we owe you congratulations? Were you not here because you had a baby?
I did.
Well, congratulations.
I've had 2 children working with you guys on this project.
You should thank us.
You better
Those are
stay
2
away from
deductions.
here.
We just gave you 2 deductions.
And I'm going to tell you, 2 under 2 at 40 is not what I signed up for.
40, hey, they're not Irish twins, are they?
Not quite.
All right. Well, we appreciate your patience. I know we probably didn't make your night tonight, but we do appreciate it. We're just trying to make sure we're doing it the right way, so.
Understood.
All right, thank you, Ms. Fleming. All right, next on the agenda, we have, oh my God, I lost my train. Talking about being here for a while, these guys have been here for how long? You had grandkids since then, haven't you?
I do.
Yeah.
That's a Wednesday night
grandchild.
staple.
And they're
Recently.
35 going on 40.
Unfortunately, we can't make everyone happy. Next on the agenda, we have proposed final plat for St. John Commons Phase 1, 13 cottage homes at 10201 Calumet Avenue, Zone PUD. We have Mr. Reddick here representing the petitioner.
Good evening, Doug Reddick with DVG. Brad Lambert, the developer, is here as well. We are here tonight seeking secondary plat approval for the St. John Commons Phase 1. This is the first portion of the project, which is primarily the residential portion of the project. And even though the agenda says 13 lots, there's actually 15 lots because we have the 2 off in the southwest corner that I think were omitted from that. But so there's technically 15 residential lots and 2 outlots. One of the outlots is the detention basin, and the other large outlot is basically green space. So we're platting all but the commercial portion of the project. We have letters from your town engineer that you'll probably want to read in. The development fee is paid as of today. We have the receipt for that. I have in my hand the letter of credit, which I will hand over to Sergio. That just came in hours ago. And we also have
I was worried about that letter of credit. We
No,
just
you-
turned down someone for not having all their stuff in,
you
so.
and me both.
And
Brad was working hard on that today, so. I also have in my possession the Mylars, which, again, I haven't seen Brad for a little while. He will sign those tonight. I'm a notary, so I will notarize his signature tonight after the meeting, and I will leave those Mylars with you folks, presuming we get final plat approval. So I think we have all our ducks in a row.
All right, that is good. Any questions from the board? All right. I will read this letter. It says, "Dear Plan Commission, as requested, Robinson Engineering has reviewed the secondary plat for the above referenced project and have the following comments. 1, St. John Phase 1 PUD final plat by DVG dated 12/15/22. Cost is Commons Phase 1 received from DVG Inc. Dated 12/19/22. I'm sorry, St. John summary estimate. We offer the following comments. The project includes 15 residential lots, 2 outlots, and associated facilities on a total of 13.89 plus or minus acre zone PUD. The approved primary plat previously included a mixed-use lot 16 that is now shown as an exception on the final plat. The final plat also adds Phase 1 to the project name. We have reviewed the final plat and find it to be satisfactory. The development fee is $11,373. The fee is 2% of the construction cost, minus the $3,200 application fee that has been previously paid. The public improvements are not complete. An irrevocable letter of credit should be submitted to the town of $158,289 to ensure the improvements will be completed, or if a surety bond or other methods of providing or for the completion of the work is submitted, it should be in the amount of $187,069. If you have any question, John Dykstra. Question, John. What's the lot 16 not shown now exception? What is that?
It's the commercial portion of the project. So,
Was it a residential lot?
pardon?
No, it wasn't a residential lot.
No, it's all the commercial. So it was on the primary plat, it was simply labeled as lot 16. It's for the 4 commercial buildings.
Okay.
But we didn't do the improvements there, so we're not asking for approval on that part.
Okay. Sorry, I read that pretty rough, but any questions, comments?
And I might add that most of that letter of credit amount is for uninstalled public sidewalk and the pedestrian path. So most of it is, all the sewer, all the infrastructure on the ground is really just pedestrian path and sidewalk.
Gotcha. I will entertain a motion for final plat for the 15 cottage homes at St. John Commons.
I'll make a motion to approve the final plat of St. John Commons Phase 1, 15 cottage home lots.
I have a motion. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Jenna. All in favor, I'm sorry, discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 7-0.
Thank you very much.
All right, next on the agenda, we have the Lenting Second Edition of St. John. Oh, I'm sorry.
Mr. Lenting is not here. He wasn't watching. I've been talking to him. We're not going to discuss it tonight, but I think I want to come back at the study session in a couple of weeks, talk about his project and how we're going to attack it, because there's two things, the rezone and the subdivision. In my opinion, we should do the rezone first and see if we get through that before we continue with subdivision. I know these items have been on the agenda for a year, and if the Plan Commission feels other action is necessary, that's fine. I've been talking to Dale. I am prepared to actually proceed with the rezoning. I think we need to get the rezoning done before we even do the subdivision, so we know how to engineer the subdivision. So I think we got to put that cart before the horse in that order. So all I can tell you tonight is I do intend to be back with Mr. Lenting in 2 weeks.
Okay, any questions, comments for the board? Doug, I think in discussions, it has been a year. It would be, I think, appropriate to start the process over. So
Okay.
there is another round of public hearings that if, I think we have residents in the room for this. And so if you could discuss with your,
Yeah.
the petitioner
And
that
we talked about it.
it
We
might
knew
be
that's
the
a
best
possibility.
approach
That's fine.
to how to handle this.
Yeah.
All right, very good. All right, can I get a motion? I'll entertain a motion to defer this again to the February, just so we have it on record.
I second it.
Is there a motion? Joe motions, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Bob. Discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Well, for clarification, you're going to defer it, that's fine, but you do want us to start over
Just, yeah,
as a matter of fact. Okay,
either you could pull it officially,
right.
because I think, well, it's been a year.
Because
Right.
he'll have to do that. I wasn't involved back then.
Yeah, but
So-
he would, I would request he would pull his
Okay.
application
That's fine. I'll
and
tell
then
him
start a
that.
new one.
We'll go from there.
Sergio, is that the proper approach?
You can request to remove the application from the agenda and reapply. I think what the board has done in the past also is, with our rules and procedures, is require if this continues forward with a deferral until the applicant is ready, this board can, or this commission can require a public hearing scheduled as well. I think we did it for one of the Lawton projects,
Okay,
so.
okay.
So it's at really the discretion of the board if they want to require another public hearing. But if you talk to Mr. Lenting and advise him that it may be best just to clear everything and start fresh.
I kind of already told him that,
So,
so
okay.
that's how we'll proceed.
So if you,
Sergio, how would you guys prefer it? I mean, you handle all the documentation. Would you-
I would prefer that we put this one to rest and start fresh.
So pull the application.
We need some kind of commitment from him, acknowledgement from him saying that he is asking that the commission withdraw, or he's requesting to withdraw, or remove this request, and then we'll start fresh.
For both items.
Yes.
Yep, okay. I'll
Thank you,
pass
sir.
that on. Thank you.
All right. Next on the agenda, we have proposed secondary plat for shops on 96, at the PUD at 96 Place and Wicker. I apologize, don't have my notes here. This came before us a couple months ago. I will reread the letter from Haas and Associates. Shops on 96, Deer Plan Commission's amended secondary plat. We have reviewed the amended secondary plat submitted to reference project and have the following comments. The changes from the original plat are as follows. Lot 1 has been divided into two lots named Lot A1A and Lot 1B. I'll repeat that again. Lot 1 has been divided into two lots named Lot 1A and Lot 1B. Outlots 2 and 3 have been combined into one outlet named Outlet 2. Lots 3 and 4 have been combined into one lot named Lot 3. Lot 6 is renamed Lot 4. Lot 5 and part of West 96 Place right-of-way becomes a portion of Outlot A, and all of Outlot B and a portion of the new West 96 Place right-of-way. A portion of the original West 96 Place right-of-way will be vacated and become part of Lot 2 and part of Outlot A. A 150 to 230-foot wide detention easement at the rear of original Lot 3 and a 230-foot wide detention easement at the rear of original Lot 4 has been replaced with a 25-foot wide easement and utility easement. 2, we have reviewed the amended plat dated September 1st, 2022, and find it to be satisfactory. Yours truly, Ken Kraus from Haas and Associates. So those are the amended changes to the secondary plat. I think due to some of the soil issues and the relocation of the road. So I will entertain a motion to approve motion for secondary plat.
I'll make a motion to approve the proposed amended secondary plat to Shops 96th.
I have a motion to approve. Is there by John, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Bob. Discussion? Hearing no discussion, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries 7-0. Next on the agenda, this has been, I have asked Sergio and Town Attorney Decker to look at an option for, and I'm just introducing this today, we'll talk about it a little bit more in study session. But instead of either just denying or granting a waiver, not granting a waiver, is this provides us a mean for the shrine. Remember, they only had 3-foot wide easement. They couldn't put a sidewalk. This will allow us the opportunity for them to put into a fund that will then be at the discretion of the town to install sidewalks at some future date, at some future time, at maybe a certain location. So this is something that we will review, discuss, talk about, and then if we feel comfortable with it, have a public hearing. So again, this, Sergio, did I get that somewhat? Yeah.
Great.
So I did have, I know Bob Burleson, Bob made it clear to me in our discussions that he's like, he doesn't want this to be an avenue for everybody to come in and we just grant them, okay, just put the money into a pot. I'm not speaking for you.
No, that's what I wanted to say, but
Yeah,
you said
so-
it for me, so.
So I apologize, but.
No,
so
you're
we-
good, you're all good.
But but you gotta make sure you're comfortable with this because,
Yeah.
Everyone's gonna say, well, a sidewalk to nowhere is a reasonable request for us to put this in this account. But, we still gotta make, we've have a very good stance on our sidewalk, so I just wanna make sure everyone's comfortable with the verbiage. I did ask Adam about the 90%. Why aren't we making it 100%? He says that's a discretionary number. So he says in Lowell, it's 85%. So that's just a number so review it, chew on it, come back, and maybe we'll discuss a little bit more at study session, so.
Another thing I'd be concerned about is, okay, developer X says it's, we'll give you $2,000, but in reality, it would be $15,000 to actually put that sidewalk in.
So he gives us an estimate, I say he.
John.
Our John, town engineer, will determine what the cost estimate is for that length of sidewalk and stuff like that. So he will,
Okay.
that cost will be determined by the town engineer.
That's all I got.
All right, anybody else? Like it, don't like it? If you don't like it, tell me off record. If you like it, tell me how great I am. So great. All right, next on the agenda, this is just the letter, and I'm going all out of order here. Where's that letter? I just have to read into the letter.
G,
G.
you got it?
Got it. All right, this is, so there was a site plan contingency letter for Krupp Industrial, and so I am just going to read in that letter. It is the compensatory storage review. This is the one for DNR where we asked them to bring the letter from DNR. So this is from Robinson Engineering, John. It says, "Dear Plan Commission, as requested, Robinson Engineering has reviewed the compensatory storage-related components of the documentation received electronically for the above reference project, the storage units, Indiana DNR DOW response letter." And it says, "We offer the following comments. The DNR DOW response indicates that the drainage areas above the downstream end of the project is less than 1 square mile. Therefore, approval of the project under the Flood Control Act is not required. No further action with DNR DOW is anticipated for this project, and the previous commitment contingency in this regard has been satisfactorily addressed. Robinson Engineering, John Dykstra." So we just asked that we had this letter, and I wanted to read it into record. With that, next on our agenda is public comment. Anyone online? Anyone in-house? Hearing no public comment, we will be adjourned.